Thank you for listening to Legal Nurse Podcast. On September 6th, 2016, I launched this podcast. We are celebrating today the 500th show. When I first thought of sharing tips with you in the form of a podcast, the idea of getting the technology straightened out was a bit daunting. I hired a business coach to help me work through the steps and get everything ready. At the beginning of Legal Nurse Podcast, I released 2 shows a week. The first was an interview, and 2 days later, the second show was a monologue I created based on the same topic our guest covered. My co-host Kelly Campbell joined me for about a year and contributed ideas and guests. In July 2020, Barbara Levin and I began planning virtual conferences, and I decided to drop the second episode of the week. Here's what people tell me. You listen when taking a walk, driving, cleaning the house, or working out. The podcast has over 136,000 downloads. Our listeners are in 92 countries. The top numbers of listeners are in the United States, Japan, Canada, Australia, UK, and Germany. 83% of you listen to the podcast on mobile devices. The rest are going to our website, podcast.legalnursebusiness.com. Here's what I have found. LNCs tell me that they dip into the vault of past shows and listen to current and older episodes. They appreciate the tips and hearing from a variety of LNCs and experts. In the last 6 years, we've seen some major changes in the world. During 2020, when the courthouses closed in the United States, attorneys worked harder to settle their cases. They learned how to take depositions by Zoom and even try some cases that way. Now that the courts are a bit more open, attorneys continue to focus on settling cases, knowing there's a backlog of cases waiting for trial. LNCs are essential to helping attorneys sort through cases, rejecting non-meritorious ones, and conserving attorneys' resources. You help attorneys make sense of murky medical records, gaining insight using your analytical skills and providing decisive guidance. Once attorneys have rewarding relationships with LNCs, they often cannot think of managing cases without them. You may have heard me discuss how I built a large and successful multi-million-dollar LNC business from 1989 to January 2015 when I sold it. In February 2021, I returned to the practice of legal nurse consulting after fulfilling a 5-year non-compete agreement with my business's purchaser. I work with a few attorneys now, and I love the experience. Here's what I know is true. You will have a rewarding business when you couple your knowledge with grateful clients. There are many attorneys who don't yet know how useful you can be. There are a few who think they know it all, and they don't need medical help. There are a few who don't appreciate your experience or undervalue your services. Don't waste your time on them trying to convert the hard-headed. If you do so, you'll just keep spinning in the wind, unable to satisfy these individuals. Look for the attorneys who want and need help and are willing to pay for it. If you have a bad experience with an attorney, learn from it and move on. When you have a great experience, which will be true for the majority of cases, learn from it and bask in the rewards. Your skills are an excellent way to serve attorneys and their clients. You have the ability to share what you know and serve the needs of your clients. Embrace this, grow with it, and enjoy it. I want to hear from you. Tell me what topics you'd like our guests to tackle. Send me an email at patiyerlnc@gmail.com. Tell me what you like about the show. Leave a rating on the podcast platform you use and share your comments. I'm here for you. and thank you for listening. My name is Pat Iyer, and this is Legal Nurse Podcast. I've just finished interviewing Abigail Rogers, who is at the cusp of her training to become a legal nurse consultant and has a very interesting story to tell about how she found out about legal nurse consulting and what she's doing to start her business. Abigail, we covered a lot of territory in your podcast. Can you give our viewer just a taste of some of the topics that we covered?
So we talked about what led to my interest in LNC work, what I find appealing about starting out as an LNC, what kind of research, self-study I've done, the kind of resources I've looked for and used along the way, my plans for starting my LNC business. So kind of my timeline and my step-by-step ideas for doing that. And then really looking into your resources. So looking first in your small circle, right in your family, seeing who has those business ideas for you, who has those ideas, those contacts, those connections, and can help you get started. You'd be very surprised at what you find, that you have, but you didn't even realize that you have.
And that's a great point, Abby, because when you start looking for attorney clients, you're going back to those same kinds of research, those resources, and saying, who do you know who's an attorney who handles medical cases? Mm-hmm. So looking at those untapped resources in your life can be another important step in building your business. Be sure to join us when Abby Rogers shares with you her perspective as somebody who is at the beginning stage of her career. Many of the guests who come onto the podcast have already started their business and are looking back from many years of experience. Abby is looking forward towards many years of experience and has a unique perspective in how she's putting all these diverse concepts together. I think you'll be inspired by her. Thanks so much.